The collision of hearts. The autumn rain painted patterns on the windows of Chapter and Verse, downtown Seattle's most beloved independent bookstore. Emma Martinez adjusted her wire-rimmed glasses and carefully arranged the new arrivals display, her movements precise and thoughtful. At 26, she had spent 3 years working here, finding comfort in the familiar smell of old paper and the quiet conversations that filled the space between towering bookshelves. Emma lived in a world of whispered conversations and careful steps. Her dark hair was always pulled back in a neat bun, and she preferred earth-tone sweaters that helped her blend into the background. She had learned early in life that being invisible was safer than being seen, especially when your heart beat differently than what others expected. Across town, Riley Chen was packing her camera equipment after a successful photo shoot at Pike Place Market. Her vibrant energy was infectious, drawing people to her like moths to a flame. With her short, choppy black hair streaked with purple highlights and her vintage leather jacket covered in patches from bands she loved, Riley was everything Emma was not. She was bold, unapologetic, and lived her life in full color. Riley had moved to Seattle 6 months ago from Los Angeles, chasing a dream of becoming a documentary photographer. Her portfolio was filled with images that captured raw human emotion, moments of truth that most people overlooked. She had a gift for seeing beauty in unexpected places and had already started making a name for herself in the local art scene. Their worlds collided on a Thursday afternoon when Riley ducked into Chapter and Verse to escape a sudden downpour. She shook the rain from her jacket and looked around, immediately drawn to the cozy atmosphere and the way golden light filtered through the tall windows. She had never been much of a reader, but something about this place felt different. Emma was restocking the poetry section when she heard the bell above the door chime. She glanced up to see a woman with striking features and an aura of confidence that made Emma's heart skip a beat. The stranger was browsing the photography books, running her fingers along the spines with the reverence of someone who truly understood art. "Excuse me," Riley called out, her voice carrying a slight rasp that made Emma's cheeks warm. "Do you have anything by Vivian Maier?" Emma's face lit up with genuine enthusiasm. Vivian Maier was one of her favorite photographers, a mysterious street photographer whose work had only been discovered after her death. "Yes, we have her self-portraits collection. It's one of my favorites." As Emma led Riley to the photography section, their hands accidentally brushed when they both reached for the same book. The contact was brief, barely a second, but it sent electricity shooting through both women. Emma quickly pulled her hand away, her cheeks flushing pink. "Sorry?" Emma whispered, her voice barely audible. Riley smiled, a warm expression that transformed her entire face. "No worries at all. I'm Riley, by the way." "Emma," she replied, surprised by her own courage in maintaining eye contact. Riley flipped through the book, studying each photograph with intense concentration. She had such an incredible eye for capturing people in their most unguarded moments. "Look at this one," she said, pointing to a black and white image of 2 women laughing on a street corner. "You can feel their joy, their connection." Emma found herself drawn closer, inhaling Riley's scent of rain and something floral. She spent her whole life documenting others but remained invisible herself. "There's something beautiful and tragic about that." Maybe she found freedom in observing rather than being observed, Riley mused, then looked directly at Emma. Though sometimes the most beautiful subjects are the ones who don't realize how captivating they are. The comment hung in the air between them, loaded with meaning that neither woman was quite ready to acknowledge. Emma felt her heart racing and excused herself to help another customer, leaving Riley alone with the photography books and a growing curiosity about the shy bookstore employee. Over the next few weeks, Riley found excuses to visit Chapter and Verse. She would browse different sections, always ending up wherever Emma was working. Their conversations grew longer and more personal. Emma discovered that Riley was passionate about social justice photography, documenting the stories of marginalized communities. Riley learned that Emma wrote poetry in her spare time, verses filled with longing and beauty that she had never shared with anyone. One evening, as Emma was closing the store, she found Riley waiting outside in the drizzle. "Hey," Riley said, shoving her hands deep in her jacket pockets. "I know this might be forward, but would you like to grab coffee with me?" There's this little place around the corner that stays open late. Emma's first instinct was to say no, to retreat to the safety of her apartment and her books. But something in Riley's expression, hopeful yet vulnerable, made her nod before she could overthink it. Cafe Luna was dimly lit with mismatched furniture and local art covering every inch of wall space. They found a corner table near the window where they could watch the city lights reflect on the wet pavement. Riley ordered a double espresso while Emma chose chamomile tea, their drink choices reflecting their contrasting personalities. "So tell me about your poetry," Riley said, leaning forward with genuine interest. Emma's hands wrapped around her warm mug like a shield. "It's nothing special, just words I write down sometimes." "I doubt that. The way your eyes light up when you talk about books, about language, there's passion there. Don't hide it." For the next 2 hours, they talked about art, about dreams, about the way certain moments could change everything. Emma found herself sharing stories she had never told anyone, about growing up feeling different, about the safety she found in books and words. Riley spoke about her photography, about capturing truth in a world full of pretense, about the loneliness of always being behind the camera instead of in front of it. As the evening wound down, Riley walked Emma home through the quiet streets. They moved slowly, neither wanting the night to end. When they reached Emma's apartment building, they stood facing each other under the streetlight, both aware that something significant was happening between them. "Emma," Riley said softly, "I hope you know that you're not invisible." "Not to me." Before Emma could respond, Riley leaned in and pressed a gentle kiss to her cheek, then walked away into the night, leaving Emma standing there with her heart pounding and her world forever changed. That night, Emma sat at her small writing desk and wrote her first poem in months, words flowing from her pen like water breaking through a dam. She wrote about collision and connection, about the way some people could see right through your carefully constructed walls and make you want to be brave. Finding courage in love, the weeks following that first coffee date blurred together in a haze of stolen moments and growing intimacy. Riley and Emma began meeting regularly, their friendship deepening with each shared conversation and comfortable silence. Riley introduced Emma to new parts of the city, taking her to underground art shows and hidden galleries where emerging artists displayed their most honest work. Emma, in turn, shared her secret places with Riley. The quiet reading nook on the bookstore's second floor where she ate lunch, the small park where she went to write, the old theater that showed classic films on Sunday afternoons. With each revelation, the walls around Emma's heart crumbled a little more. Riley had never felt this way about anyone before. She had dated casually in Los Angeles, both men and women, but never experienced the deep emotional connection she felt with Emma. There was something about Emma's quiet strength, her ability to see beauty in subtle details, that made Riley want to slow down and appreciate the smaller moments in life. One Saturday afternoon, Riley convinced Emma to model for a photography project. They went to Volunteer Park, where the autumn light filtered through golden leaves in perfect, dappled patterns. Emma was nervous at first, unused to being the subject rather than the observer, but Riley's gentle encouragement helped her relax. "Just be yourself," Riley said from behind her camera. "Don't think about posing. Think about something that makes you happy." Emma closed her eyes and tilted her face toward the warm sunlight. She thought about the past few weeks, about Riley's laugh and the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled. She thought about feeling seen and valued for the first time in her adult life. When Riley showed her the photographs later, Emma gasped. The woman in the images looked radiant, confident, beautiful. Her smile was genuine, and her eyes held a warmth that Emma had never seen in herself before. "Is that really me?" she whispered. "That's how I see you every day," Riley replied, her voice thick with emotion. That evening, they were walking along the waterfront when Riley suddenly stopped. "Emma, I need to tell you something." Emma's heart clenched, fearing the worst. "What is it?" "I'm falling in love with you," Riley said, her usual confidence replaced by vulnerable honesty. "I know we haven't talked about what this is between us, but I needed you to know." "You've changed everything for me." Emma felt tears spring to her eyes. She had been fighting her own growing feelings, terrified of what they meant and how others might react. "Riley, You don't have to say anything, Riley said quickly. I just wanted to be honest. No, let me finish, Emma said, finding courage she didn't know she possessed. I'm scared. I've never felt this way about anyone before, and it terrifies me. But Riley, I think I'm falling in love with you too. They stood there by the water, the city lights twinkling around them, and shared their first real kiss. It was tender and sweet, full of promise and possibility. Their relationship blossomed over the following months, but it wasn't without challenges. Emma struggled with internalized fears about her sexuality, worrying about how her traditional family would react. Riley was patient and understanding, never pushing Emma to come out before she was ready. The real test came when Emma's parents visited for Thanksgiving. She had been dreading their arrival for weeks, knowing that hiding Riley's importance in her life would feel like a betrayal of everything they had built together. You don't have to tell them everything, Riley assured her the night before her parents arrived. Just do what feels right for you. But when Emma's mother made casual comments about when Emma would find a nice young man and settle down, Emma felt something shift inside her. She looked across the restaurant table at Riley, who was gracefully handling her parents' questions about her photography career, and realized she couldn't keep hiding the most important relationship of her life. Mom, Dad, Emma said, her voice shaking slightly. There's something I need to tell you. Riley isn't just my friend. She's the woman I love. The silence that followed felt eternal. Emma's father set down his fork slowly, while her mother's face cycled through confusion, shock, and something that might have been grief. Riley reached under the table and squeezed Emma's hand, offering silent support. Emma, honey, her mother finally said, are you sure? Maybe you're just going through a phase. It's not a phase, Mom, Emma replied, her voice growing stronger. I love Riley and she loves me. She makes me happy in ways I never thought possible. The conversation that followed was difficult, with tears and uncomfortable silences. Emma's parents needed time to process, but they could see the genuine happiness in their daughter's eyes when she looked at Riley. They had never seen Emma so confident, so vibrant. Months later, Emma's mother called to apologize and to invite both Emma and Riley to Christmas dinner. I may not understand everything, she said, but I can see that she makes you happy, and that's what matters to me. Riley's family had been supportive from the beginning, welcoming Emma with open arms when they visited California for New Year's. Riley's mother pulled Emma aside during their stay and said, Thank you for making my daughter smile like that. I've never seen her so content. As their first year together drew to a close, Riley planned a surprise for Emma. She had been working on a photography exhibition called Love in Focus, and the centerpiece was a series of portraits she had taken of Emma over the months they had been together. The images showed Emma's transformation from shy observer to confident, radiant woman. At the gallery opening, Emma stood in front of the photographs with tears in her eyes. She could see her journey reflected in each image, the gradual unveiling of her true self. You see me? She whispered to Riley. Really see me. And you taught me to slow down, to find beauty in quiet moments, Riley replied. We make each other better. As they stood together, surrounded by friends and family who had come to celebrate Riley's work and their love, Emma realized that being seen wasn't something to fear. In Riley's eyes, in her art, in the way they moved through the world together, Emma had found her home. Their love story became an inspiration to others in their community. Young women struggling with their identity would sometimes approach them at pride events or in coffee shops, looking for hope and guidance. Emma and Riley always made time for these conversations, sharing their story and offering support. Love isn't always easy, Emma would tell them, but it's always worth it when it's real. Years later, when Riley published a book of photography that included images from their early relationship, she dedicated it to Emma with these words. To the woman who taught me that the most beautiful stories are often written in whispers, and that love is the most powerful lens through which to view the world. Their love story proved that sometimes the most profound connections happen when we least expect them, between two people brave enough to be vulnerable, honest enough to be themselves, and strong enough to choose love over fear. In a world that often felt chaotic and uncertain, Emma and Riley created a space of peace and authenticity together. They learned that love doesn't always announce itself with grand gestures. Sometimes it arrives quietly, in the space between words, in the comfort of shared silence, in the courage to be truly seen by another soul. Their story continued to unfold, day by day, moment by moment, a testament to the power of authentic love and the beauty that emerges when two hearts collide and choose to build something lasting together.